Welcome to the Knitty McPurly podcast, episode 206. I am your host, Devin Ventry. You can find me at KnittyMcPurly.com. I am Knitty McPurly on Instagram, and if you want to email me, I am Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. It is so good to be here today on this beautiful, cold, inhospitable, windy Saturday. I hope you are in your house, cozy, with some tea and you're knitting and ready to hang out with me for half an hour. How am I doing this? This is a new sweater. Oh my gosh, like how many weeks can I show up in a new sweater? This is the 4th week running. This is, I'm gonna talk about it in Progress and Shop News, but this is the Hygge vest by Brenda Lamb. How did I do it? I don't know. Honestly, it's so easy because this is St. Petersburg, super bulky. It is super bulky. And it said in the pattern it would take about 8 hours to knit this vest, and I feel like that's about what it took me. It was really, really fast. And that's just, you know, waiting in carpool line, that's on the couch at the end of the day, that's during homeschooling, like I did that in 1 week, just fit in 8 hours here and there, which is kind of amazing when you think about the time that we have in the week and how much stuff we can get done. I love to get stuff done. All right, I'll talk about it more in Progress and Shop News, which is right now. But first, I want to talk to you about the Sock Club, the League of Extraordinary Sock Knitters. Oh my gosh, you guys. So the whole time that I was packing this up, I was thinking, this is epic. Like, it's amazing. It's like best thing I've ever done amazing. And it shipped out this past week. What day did it ship out? Monday. Yeah, it shipped out on Monday. So if you ordered one, you probably have gotten it by now. They all went USPS. They were all in the US. So I heard from some people, and I heard words like amazing and you hit it out of the park. And I have to say that I agree. It came out so, so good. And I really can't take credit for much of that. I mean, a lot of it is on Summer Lee, who wrote the book and had the inspiring socks in the book for me to work with. So I share the glory with her for sure, but it came out so good. So I wanted to show you a little video before I shipped them out. I just went through and showed you all the stuff that was in the box. If you haven't gotten yours yet, I know there's one person, I haven't mailed hers yet because she's out of town and she wanted me to mail it later. So if you don't want to see, just skip forward ahead, 30 seconds or a minute. I don't know how long it is, but here is that video. I am so, so proud of how this came out. It's just great, and I can't wait to see the socks. Also, there is a Facebook group for those of you who are members of the league. So a wonderful knitter, I mean, I'm using the word wonderful here, but I want to multiply that times a million, named Emily, hi Emily, had messaged me and said, Devin, would you like me to set up that Facebook group for you? And I was like, yes, please. Like, I just don't do Facebook. I'm not good at it. Emily is younger than me and just good at that stuff. So she very graciously offered to put together the Facebook group. That will be up and running before January 1st. She needs some stuff from me to pull it all together, but she has been amazing. So the Facebook group will be going up. In case you want to check in with other knitters who are members of the league and you want to see what other people are working on, that will be up soon. Okay, how are your advent calendars coming? I've heard from some of you. Looks like it's going great. Again, I really haven't been on Instagram very much to check the hashtag. It is hashtag KMP, Creator of the Universe Advent, because I wanted you to type out just a ridiculously long name. It was a lot of words. So anyway, go check that out if you want to see how people's Advents are working up. If you're working on something with the Advent, post pictures. We would love to see them. That would be awesome. I hope you're loving the Advent. Everyone has kind of handled it differently. So it's been really cool to watch that go down. Thank you so much for loving it. And thank you for all of you who have reached out to me to tell me that you liked it. Thank you. Okay. One other thing I wanted to mention is there are a few of the candy pop sets in the shop, the Christmas candy, 50-gram sets, and there's 5 skeins. So that's 250 grams. It's essentially 2.5 skeins, and they are marked down to $55. So that's a pretty good deal in terms of yarn cost. So those are available in the shop. Go get those if you want one. The Sanctum Balm has also been restocked in the sticks. I have some more of those, so go get them. When it's gone for a while. So go get them if you want them. Okay, the retreat is coming up in like a month. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I am still waiting on some class information from one of my wonderful volunteer teachers. I'm happy to wait as long as she needs, but I will be sending out the packet with all of the information. It will be arriving in your email box if you are going to the Knitty McPurly retreat in Dallas at the end of January. So that is coming. It's got all of the class assignments and the class information and just other information that you're gonna wanna have when you're getting ready to come to this retreat. It's gonna be so great. Like, I'm just so excited about it. We're gonna have such a good time. Gigi's coming with me. It's gonna be really fun. So can't wait to see you all there. Okay, my vest. This is the Hygge vest by Brenda Lamb. And we talked about some of Brenda's patterns last week. I think that they are so cute. A lot of them are super bulky. If she has any that aren't super bulky, I don't think I've seen them. Now, Brenda lives in Ottawa, so a super bulky, like full sleeve sweater would be appropriate for Brenda. And even here today, I don't know if you can hear the wind howling out there. It's cold. It's like 30 degrees and the wind is howling. But this is as much super bulky as I care to wear indoors, ever. I would wear a super bulky long sleeve sweater like as a coat, maybe outside, but this is all of the St. Petersburg super bulky that I would like to wear. Like if I went to St. Petersburg, maybe I'd make one of Brenda's long sleeve sweaters and wear it there. But this is just about all I can take. I'll just ignite into flames if I get too hot. So I didn't even start this last weekend because I had to buy the needles, and I want to talk about the needles in a minute. That's one of our topics of the week. I didn't want to make the same mistake that I made on last week's vest where I used the smaller needles, and honestly, it was fine. Using the smaller needles was fine. The mistake I made in that sweater was following the directions for the length without taking into account that the model was 6 inches shorter than me. So I really needed 6 extra inches of body length. I actually decided to give Charlotte that sweater, and I'll see if I can get a picture of her wearing it. I added more colors to it. I didn't go all the way to the edges like I talked about last week, but I did add a few more colors, and it just looks super cute on Charlotte. I mean, you know, she's just shorter, so it fits her a little bit better. So I used for my vest Dusty and super bulky and Jovis and Roxette because I love Roxette. The thing about it is that it is just the best orange. I don't look good in orange though. In fact, I don't really think I look good in any of these colors, but I just really like them. I just think it's a really cute vest. It's really cute. I don't know if it looks as good on me as it does on Brenda. She's young and thin, and you know, everything looks good on somebody who's built like Brenda. And I did change the pattern just a little bit. Like for the cast on, you cast on 6 fewer stitches and then with the smaller needle, and then you increase, when you go to the bigger needle, you increase 6 stitches. And I didn't want it to come in here. I just wanted it to be more straight. And so I just cast on the 6 stitches in the cast on. I did use the smaller needle here and then go to the bigger needle. Super easy knit, very professional pattern while still being kind of quirky and funny, kind of like Brenda seems to be, like in her pictures and her description and whatnot. I thought that it was a really good pattern. I really enjoyed it. I would knit another one of her patterns for sure. In fact, my oldest daughter said she wanted a vest like this, but she wanted it to open in the front. And I thought I could do that. I don't know, maybe we'll find a different pattern. Do I have the energy to change the pattern? Maybe not right now. Maybe not right now. But anyway, I enjoyed knitting it. So moving right into our topic of the week, I just want to talk about knitting needles because I did have to buy new needles to make this. It called for a US 15 around the bottom, and I had that size, but only in a 16-inch. So I had this one, which I'm pretty sure is an Addie. And I've had this forever. Oh, does it say? Hold on. Yeah, Addie. This is an Addie. Very good, very nice. The cord has memory, but it's not annoying because it's just doing what I would want it to do naturally. It's annoying when they have memory and they're like, and you can't undo it. So this needle was very much enjoyable. I used this for this cuff and this here. You pick that up at the end. It's worked from the bottom up, super easy, seamed here with a 3 needle bind off. You pick up and you pick up. So I used this for these. Now I had to buy some new needles. So I found this one. I'll link these down below. This is basically a cheap Chinese knockoff of a Qiaogu, okay? Because doesn't it look like a Qiaogu? Only the cord is orange. Looks like, you would think that this is a Qiaogu. It is not. This is a cheap Chinese knockoff. However, it's pretty good. The needles, I'd say, feel a lot like the Qiaogus. The cord is just a total knockoff. And I would have bought the Qiaogus. I would have purchased those, only in a US 15, it's hard to find the exact combination that you want. So for this cord length and this needle size, I just couldn't find anything else. And it was cheap. It was like $8. You know, this would definitely cost more if it were a real Qiaogu, and it's good. It's a, you know, it's a cheap Chinese knockoff, but it's pretty good. I recommend it. Again, I'll link it below. Now, the needle that I needed for the body of the sweater is a US 19, and I got this Knitter's Pride. So you can see, it's just super mediocre. It was annoying to work with because of this weird cord memory. Like, it's 2024. Why do we have to have this? I feel like we just don't have to have it. If the cheap Chinese knockoffs can be as good as this, then why is Knitter's Pride, which is a good brand? I mean, I really like their needles. The joints here are really good. I think the wood is really nice. I really like their double points. Why is their cord so bad? This is just not good. It just should not be. So that's my take on that. I'd love for you guys to weigh in. What do you think? Like, if I could pick my favorite circular needle, like Devin, here are all the needles, pick the ones you want, I would pick the Qiaogus because that red cord doesn't have memory. It's just so nice. I just have no complaints with the Qiaogus. There are other ones. I know people have their pet loves, like people like the signature needles. I've tried those. I think they're fine. They're not better than the Qiaogus, and they are more expensive, or they were. They've gone out of business. There's that handmade one that people just love. I don't know, is it better? Like, maybe it is. Maybe you like it better. I guess it's kind of a personal thing, but yeah, Knitter's Pride, you really dropped the ball on the cord. Just be better, Knitter's Pride, be better. Okay, so I did not swatch. I did not swatch when I did this. All I did was follow the pattern, and it came out just fine. I do feel like it's a little bit boxy. I had originally styled it younger, like I had a t-shirt on and some pants that are kind of this color, and it was just too youthful. I don't know, I'm pushing 50. There's a limit to how much youthfulness I think I ought to engage in. But I asked my daughters, I was like, what do we think of the vest? And they were like, I like it. But I didn't get a wholehearted like, wow, Mom, I love it. I have to have one like I did for the Timbo. The Timbo vest is just a great vest. Also, it's bulky instead of super bulky, and so it's a little bit lighter weight. So, oops. Yeah, so that is my honest review of the needles. The second thing that I want to talk about in our topic of the week is about hand-dyed yarn. I get this question a lot, and I don't mean to vilify anyone who has asked me this question. It's a totally legit question to ask, totally fine. And that question is, my hand-dyed yarn has variations in it, or it looks like the yarn underneath the tie did not take any dye. And I get it, I understand. However, I think you need to think of hand-dyed yarn like, okay, this is an example of a mug that you would get at the store. It's not expensive, it's not special, it's just a mug, right? It was made with a zillion other mugs that look just like it. This is an example of a handmade mug. It is special, it is unique, it is unrepeatable, and it has variations that give it character and specialness. So I don't think it's fair to compare this mug with this mug and say, well, they both hold my coffee. That's true, but one is special and one is just regular. And I think hand-dyed yarn is a lot like that. It's going to have variations. And so I wanted to pull out my Timbo vest to show you. Now let's look at it, you know, from a distance. Looks good, right? Now, as we get closer, you'll see that there are variations in the way that the dye was taken up by the yarn. Now, I personally find these to be special, and that's what gives it its character. Now, it's possible that you end up with one of these stitches that has a color that you don't like, and it's in a place that you don't like. Sometimes you knit the sweater and you're like, well, geez, I've got this glaring stitch right in a place where I don't want it. Now, what I'm about to say is not necessarily a recommendation. Okay, so don't accuse me of recommending something crazy, because this is a little bit crazy. But as an artist and kind of a pragmatist, here is what I would do. I would use a Sharpie. Wait a minute, don't turn off the video. Don't leave. I'm not insane. Like, when I go shopping for, say, like furniture, I look at it and I think, when my kids scratch it all up, can I fix it with a Sharpie? And a lot of times I will choose furniture based on that. So now I'm not saying this will always work, and you could potentially ruin something if your color choice is bad. Like, you know, look here, like here, there's variations, right? Now, this is something that I would use, I would definitely take a gentle hand with. And if you have no artistic talent and ability to kind of blend, then I don't recommend this. I feel like I just need to cut this out of this podcast, because people are gonna be like, okay, Sharpie, no. But you're gonna be like, Devin, you're insane. You are crazy. But don't accuse me of insanity, even though maybe I am a little bit insane. But this is just what I would do. Like, overall, I think we just need to accept the beauty and the variety and the interestingness and the specialness. However, if there was a stitch that you absolutely hated and you could get a Sharpie or a marker or something that will stick there for a while, probably through a wash, that you could just very gently kind of hit the high spots to tone it down a little bit. So just to show you that I am willing to do this on my own knits, I picked a stitch on the Timbo vest and I Sharpied it. So here's that video. All right, folks, so let's do this thing. Here I have a black Sharpie and I couldn't find my brown Sharpie, so I've got this brown Papermate flare. So let's pretend that this right here is a stitch that I would like to cover up. I don't want that stitch to be visible. Can you see it? So what I'm gonna do, just like as if this was my furniture and my children had scraped off the finish with their feet, I am just going to, do that just on the high spots. Then I'm gonna pick it up. You see it, it's this one right here. And I'm just gonna blend it a little bit. Because when you blend with more than one color, you know, in art, this is true stuff. You get what looks like a natural. And here we have a couple stitches nearby that have some color too. Again, if I had a brown Sharpie, I would totally use that. And there you go. Can you find it? It's gone. All right, the comments section. Jen G said, missed you last week. So very happy to see you back. I have always knit my socks 2 at a time on 9-inch circulars, simply because I know me and I would never knit the second sock. It also helps with always being able to work on them going back and forth. Say if one is on the heel and the other's on the foot, it's harder to knit a heel if I'm being constantly interrupted, but a leg or a foot I can, pick up and put down. And it helps me to knit them up the same. So I always split the skein into 2 balls and cast on 2 socks. Okay, I don't know whether to be like amazed at the genius of Jen and many of you who commented, or annoyed that you didn't tell me about this. This is such a good idea. You guys are geniuses. Like half the comments last week were like, oh yeah, I always do that. I knit my socks 2 at a time on 2 separate needles, doing them separately, but at the same time. So for many reasons. So the biggest reason for me is that you actually finish both socks. I have several pairs of socks going right now. Languishing right now, where there's one full sock done and the other one has this much. Like that's my life. So that's it. I'm doing this. This is such a good idea. Irish Bell says, another lovely podcast. We missed you. I have been knitting socks like Jamie, who was another commenter who said that, for a few years now. I learned how to knit socks 2 at a time on 1 long circular needle, but hated how long it took. It felt like forever, and when it came to the heel flaps and gussets, I always made some sort of error. So knitting them section by section concurrently is my favorite way. It also helps with yarn management if you're using leftovers or minis, because if the yarn doesn't go as far as you think it will, you can still get them to match by adding in another color at the same place on each sock. Genius. And I love the idea of knitting them at the same time, but separately. I had only ever heard of knitting socks 2 at a time on 1 long needle. And with that, I've never done it because to me, it just seems too daunting. The yarn management, where you're constantly having to move the yarn around. And sometimes I think something is a big deal and you guys are like, no, Devin, it's not a big deal. All you have to do is this. So tell me if I've missed something there. Lori says, Devin, you are an angel to drop everything and care for your stepmother-in-law with everything going on, and especially this time of year. Thank you so much, Lori. I really appreciate that. Sometimes I need a little pat on the back. She says, you are a blessing to your family and us. We missed you last week. Incidentally, I've always knitted my socks 2 at a time on separate magic loop needles. Yes, awesome. You guys are so smart. Holly said, I saw the community post about there not being a podcast last week. Thank you so much for telling me because, like I said, my mom couldn't find it. I am so enjoying the yarn advent. I am opening it up in reverse order and knitting the Knit Vent Anthology Throw by Helen Stewart. I will share a picture when I am finished. I only have 8 days left. I started early because I knew I wouldn't be able to knit the 20-gram skeins each day. It's turning out beautiful. Oh gosh, Holly, I can't wait to see that. All right, I love this comment, and not for the reason you think. Denise says, Devin, I would expect you to do nothing less than be snowed under and still step up to help family. Family is always first. And the thing about this comment, she says, I've been where you were and it completely depletes your battery. Love and hugs. You deserve some me time. The thing that I love about this comment is not just how complimentary it is, but the fact that it just goes to show what a nice person Denise is. Denise is like the nicest person in the world. Hi, Denise. She always has some kind, over-the-top kind thing to say. So thank you so much, Denise, for being just a wonderful, wonderful all-around person. Mary says, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and let you know I really enjoy your program. I am also glad to hear someone else say that about TV programs nowadays on all stations. Yes, like, I don't know why someone else's agenda has to come across in every single show. I'm like, click, why did I ever invest in these characters? It's terrible. Anne Marie says, oh, this is my favorite comment of last week. I love this one because my husband would totally do something just like this. She says, my husband pretends not to listen to your podcast, but while you were talking about using both sides of your fisherman's rib, he pipes up, make pockets on both sides. I had a little chuckle. My husband would absolutely do that. Be like, I don't care about what you're listening to. And he's like totally sitting there just thinking about it. 8 Gammy says, that was a wonderful, full-packed and fun podcast. My prayers to your in-laws for a bright recovery, getting stronger as they can. Thank you so much, 8 Gammy. I really appreciate it. Thank you, all of you, for your well wishes about my father-in-law and my stepmother-in-law. They're doing well. Yeah, it's ongoing, but they're stable for now. So thank you. All right, knitting fantasies. I decided to pick a few quick, easy knits for knitting fantasies because today is December 21st and we have just a few days before Christmas. I'm not even done with my Christmas shopping. I totally have to go out and finish that soon. But if you have somebody that you forgot about and you're like, oh, I need to knit that person a thing, here are some very quick gift knit ideas. The first one is by Jennifer Thompson of, I forget what her website is called, but I'll link that below. Oh, Brome Fields. And this is a super bulky cabled headband. This would be super fast. I mean, you could probably work this up in like 2 hours and then it would be done. It uses Lion brand Thick and Quick, which is the same weight as St. Petersburg, super bulky. This yarn is beautiful and totally affordable. You can get it, I think, at Michael's. Anyplace else you can get that? I'm sure Hobby Lobby has a comparable one, although Gigi has knit with Hobby Lobby yarn a lot, and it tends to pill up and look bad very quickly. I don't know. I've been a little frustrated with Hobby Lobby's yarn. But the Lion brand Thick and Quick, I think, is a really, really good, very affordable yarn. And then my last 3 brief picks are just shameless plugs. The first one is the Allotrope hat, which you can make out of super bulky. You can use St. Petersburg super bulky, or you can go to Michael's and get some Lion brand, or you can hold something in your stash, double or even triple, to get to a super bulky weight. That's a free pattern over on my website. It is so easy and fast. Also the Everywhere hat, which is not quite as fast because it is an Aran weight, but it's a pretty quick knit. You could definitely get it done by Christmas. Also a free pattern over on my website. And my third one is the 11th Hour hat, which is a cable hat in bulky yarn, which was kind of designed with the idea of a last minute gift. This one, because at the time I wanted to market it as a last minute gift, my testers told me how long it took, and it's about a 6-hour knit. Not as quick as the Allotrope, not as quick as the cabled headband. Obviously that one is going to be the fastest one, but also a good option. Okay, moving right along to, so here's what happened. This comes to us from Jen V. Hi, Jen. I just love Jen. She is so sweet. She was at my retreat last time and she's coming again this time. So very, very excited to see her again. Jen says, my teen daughter and I recently attended the Carolina Ballet's production of Jekyll and Hyde. She's a dancer and we go to the October Ballet every year because it's our thing. It's always so much fun. So last night we had middle of the row seats and the couple on the end slid right in as the show lights came down. And the ballet's director came out to welcome the audience. Because the woman seated next to me came in after the lights went down, I didn't even really see her until intermission. At intermission, she was coming back from the restroom and I noticed her shawl immediately. It was a beautiful crescent shawl knit from hand-dyed yarn in red, brown, and orange blend. Is your shawl knit from Rios? I asked, immediately following up with a compliment to the knitter. It's absolutely beautiful. She stopped, sat back a little bit, shook her head, like she was like, where am I? I think that's hilarious. I probably would do the same thing, like, oh, I didn't know any knitters could see me. And she says, why, yes, it is. Thank you. We chatted for a while longer and she shared with me that she's knit for 3 to 4 years, travels the world, and buys yarn to remember her adventures. As she was telling me about this lovely village she visited with a quaint local yarn shop, I had to ask if it was Rohrspatz Wollmiese. Is that how you say it? I don't know. It was not, but we both snickered some. I enjoyed remembering my crazy German adventure to the Wollmiese store, but that is a story for another day. That day has come, Jen. Send it to me. We want to hear the story about the Wollmiese. She had moved to the area a year before, but was mostly focused on yarn stores in other cities. So I was able to tell her about a local yarn store in Raleigh that opened a year ago and is a crown jewel for this area. Well, what's it called? What is it? I'll go to Raleigh for a good yarn store. Jen says, as she thanked me for the recommendation, the theater lights came down and it was time to enjoy the final production. I didn't get her name or number, but I really appreciate being able to connect with another knitter, even for just a brief moment. Also, I tend not to wear my knitting pieces to more formal events because in my eyes, they are just a thing I've knit and not elevated wear. She has me thinking that I really need to reevaluate my perception of my own knitting. Here's to wearing our hand knits in public, being able to immediately recognize another knitter's beautiful work and making instant connections. I look forward to seeing many of you in Dallas. Thank you so much, Jen. I think a lot of us feel that way. I know I do, which is why when Shelly sent me that beautiful beaded shawl, I was like, I finally have something that is worthy to be worn as like special elevated clothing. And partly that was because I didn't knit it, I think, but partly because it was so beautiful and special. But I think I do sometimes think that way about my own knits, but I also knit a lot of casual stuff. So it really depends, like, are you knitting something more casual or something more formal? But shawls can definitely be, zhuzhed up a little bit, with a more fancy outfit to look a little bit fancier. I noticed a while ago, maybe a year ago, that Harmeet Dillon, who's this famous lawyer, and I think she's being nominated for something in the Trump cabinet. I'm not exactly sure. Anyway, I noticed that she had on a hand knit sweater one time. And I was like, Harmeet is a knitter. And everybody was like, duh, we have all known this forever. I was like, oh, okay. And so I noticed one thing about Harmeet is she's always wearing her knits. I mean, she'll be like on the news and she's got her knitwear on, and she's like a fancy lawyer. Like you think she'd be wearing some kind of fancy suit or something. No, she's got her knitted sweater on, which I just think is awesome. We all need to wear our knits more often. Okay, thank you so much for being here with me. This has been so much fun. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, wonderful time with your families, and I will see you back here next Saturday to wish you a Happy New Year. And will I have January's color of the month? No, the week after. All right, see you guys. Merry Christmas.